When the music hits that little spot, when the drums kind of kick in, that's where I start screaming into a microphone. This is Anytime with Ken and Alden. This week it is Ken and Alden. Last week it was Alden and Charlie and Maddie and Auntie M. Everyone was here. Yeah. Everyone was here.
Everyone was here, and between that and Casterly Talk, people were wondering, is Ken Napzok dead and gone? Is he retired? We will never see him again.
Was I too mean in the Casterly Talk chat?
I don't think so. I think after a while, much like old Luke Skywalker, you just had to make yourself clear. But yeah, it's really funny how in this day and age, if you are not absolutely relentlessly, consistently in people's faces, they act like you've been gone forever. Like it was like they acted like it was a classic rock band, like original lineup getting changed, and that
you're the Adam Lambert. You were the Adam Lambert of our Casterly crew. I thank you. I'm sorry, but I was anyone who knows what we're talking about. I'm no longer talking Game of Thrones and Rings of Power regularly, at least for now. Might pop on every now and then. Loves episode 1 of House of the Dragon season 2. You're doing it because you want to, and you had a great conversation with our buddy Nikki, one of the most intelligent Game of Thrones analysts out there, I think, along with you. And yeah, I appreciate people are like, we miss you. We'd like you to be here. Got that, but there was some lecturing and that vibe of like when CM Punk left the WWE because his back was broken, he had an infection cyst on his back, and he hated everything, and he was like, I don't owe you anything. I had that anger going where it's like, I don't owe you anything.
Yeah, and but at the same time, positively, and we're talking about joy today a little bit. It's in the thumb.
We are,
turning off the targeting computers. No plan. We're just going to dive into how we're feeling this week.
Yeah,
it is in some way a compliment, I think, that the second that you left, not even the public eye, because like you were still on Instagram, you were still doing things this whole week, posting stand-up, like you were there. But the second you weren't exactly where people are used to seeing you, they went into Ken withdrawal, and that's got to be nice.
Like I said, I respect the passion. It's nice. It's good to be wanted.
To be loved. Yeah.
I want you to want me. Yeah, absolutely. I just, I have a tendency to get a little grumpy about it. I have a tendency to be like, I leave a lot of things. It's a trait of mine. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I have a tendency to be like, I've packed my bags. I am gone.
Sure.
See ya.
Sure.
Left stand up a few times, left schmoes, left schmoda, like all that kind of stuff. Collider. Sure. Walked out on Screen Junkies. Like, love leaving. That's not always a good thing. So that's why I was trying to ask you, am I being too much of an a-hole? But you did great. I love the episode, too. I don't want to sneak into conversations about it, but I thought it was a really good start.
It's a good week. Good week for nerds that care and are, normal. And for in different fantasy worlds and galaxies. In our actual world, not as great. Not as great.
No.
Trying to think of a good story that happened. I know we're not doing regular news here, but if anybody has a positive news story, I encourage you to throw them in the comments. I'm trying to think, like, we're keeping our eye on SCOTUS. We're watching.
Yeah, we're waiting, right? Aren't we still waiting for a big decision?
Yeah, it got kicked to, I believe, according to, I saw Ellie Mastel tweet that they will weigh in on immunity like the day before or 2 days before the debate. And it's like, oh, that's good. That's nice. That's awesome. Great. I love that.
They were putting up protective barriers right around the Supreme Court. And I was like, man, that could go either way. There's one side that I think will scale them faster and quicker. But it could be,
there's another side that will try to negotiate with the barrier to get it to see the error of its ways.
I'd like you to listen to my nuanced point about this.
Yeah.
Have you heard that Jon Stewart interview? Yeah. No, I get it. Look, it is what it is out there, and it's frightening. The Trump has now started to include direct Project 2025 talking points into some of his speeches, and that should be alarming. Project 2025 has been alarming to a lot of people for a long time, but I'm glad that it's catching a little bit more of the public eye right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. But that in our own lives, and yeah, by the way, I don't think you praised me enough for this. This is the best thumbnail I've ever made.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. What's amazing is that you're one of my friends who is GIFable. You can search like Jiffy and get Ken Apzok GIFs.
Yeah.
But you also, 10 times as many just like stills and segments and like there's a whole plethora of Ken. And this looks like a 2014 maybe era.
You're right. That's a 2014 schmoes. I'm yelling at JTI, I think, then. And then that's Christian Ruvalcaba of Wanger Show.
That's Christian Ruvalcaba?
Yeah, look at that. Look at that
with
little
beard.
Guy. No, and hope and less anger.
And hope. Joy in his heart, whimsy.
Yeah. 8984M. Brady says Ken in the thumbnail scares me. This was completely posed. But if I arrested you or threw you out of a mall between 1998 and 2015, I looked like this. This is what it was. I'd come straight from work that day. So
now it's my understanding you went through a time of wearing suits. Was that exclusively because of your job, or were you also like, I'm going to dinner, I'm wearing a suit?
No, I was never a suit guy. I never owned a suit. I was the doofus that went to, all right, that's harsh. I was the doofus, though, I'll say, that would go to weddings in like black slacks and like a long sleeve button up shirt I got at Structure last minute. I didn't even iron it. No tie. I didn't know how to do tie. But my dad's a simple man, right? And it's never like, I think he got a tuxedo for his wedding and that was it. And he's the guy you have to remind him, hey, Dad, maybe take your hat off in this, event we're going into type of guy. Okay. I had no problem with it. So 2005, I got invited to Kristen Wiig's wedding or her first marriage. And I was like, crap, I got to step it up. So I went and got a black pinstripe suit. And Alden, I felt so good. I felt like I was walking in like a Carly Simon song. Ooh. Oh, it was so good. And then that started. But then, eventually by 2007, the bosses came to me and said, you know what? We've heard your calls. We're getting you out of uniform. You're in a suit. And I'm still, I think, paying off some of that credit card debt.
Damn. And now, pretty much like me, pretty consistently black clad, semi-formal casual, can be elevated to formal, a splash of color here and there.
Yeah. Got rid of all my suits. I don't even have a full suit. I think at my peak I had 16 suits. I don't have one, and I'm gonna probably need one at some point. But and I have a uniform. I was talking about this with our buddy Ken Plume. I have a uniform. Scrimshaw kind of has a uniform. Ken Plume has a uniform, and my buddy Eric Bass of Shinedown has a uniform. And that's the one who inspired me to find a uniform. My life is so much easier, much easier.
I do too, to a large degree. Like I will sometimes go the hoodie if I'm feeling lazy, but black jean jacket, black pants, it's really consistent. Even the wedding I went to recently, I had to put together the wedding outfit, but it was all black and everything. And we got Sean
Room, who we send all the love in the world to. So any style tips for a guy who basically wears skinny jeans and black and white t-shirts? No, that's it.
No, I think you got it.
I know the jean style changed. Maybe they become. I wear slim cut. I've never had skinny cut jeans. I've just gotten fatter. But that black white t-shirt. That's it. That's it. No notes, says David McKay. That's what it is. Find the jacket that fits you. I got into the jean jacket, the denim, because it just feels comfortable. I like the pocket options. The beanies, because this is the last gasp of my hair, and I like pink, purple. I just ordered a new, dare I say, fuchsia beanie that I'm going to wear for my show, Hot Burbanks Nights. I'm going to debut that there.
Very nice. You should do an official Ken Apzok line of beanies.
Well, I have the Team Zoc one. They got the TZ Brian Ward design logo on it, but I should do
link below.
It worked out because, and I have to admit this because we're talking about suit guys. I only bought Trump ties. I only bought Trump ties because this is the age of the Apprentice, where we all just thought this character's great. This
Trump
guy's
ties.
great. And I liked his power colors. It was like bold, strong, authoritative. I was like, I like it. I like it. I don't want to lie. I bought them all. I had all the Trump ties.
Man, tie selection. I remember, so back in high school when I was on the debate team, to the surprise of no one, part of what you were judged on was like the dress and the appearance, the formality, like that would go on your judge's sheet, even if you couldn't lose on that basis, they would always note it, and I would always get points off because I intentionally wanted to look different, and so I wanted
Shocking.
I wanted to present at these competitions as cool, which is easy to do in a room full of debate nerds. Like, it's a low bar to clear, but I was like, if I could create a reputation just visually, then great. And so in 10th grade I had like longish hair. It was like shaggy.
Love it.
Harry Potter year 4, and I would wear all black, and then instead of dress shoes I would wear like my black and white checkered Vans, and then instead of a normal tie I had a hot, and I mean a hot, pink tie.
See,
and the hot pink tie,
I love it.
Legendary.
The amount of I gotta say, I love pink, pink and black, the pink and black attack, like Bret Hart. You're done well. I can't tell you how many times people stop me, who don't know me, and come up with, I love that pink tie. Oh, I love your pink. I was at the Zach Baggins Haunted Museum where Grace and I go every time we're in Vegas, and one of the guys who runs it comes over to me and he's just like, "That's a goddamn power color. You goddamn look good." I was like, "Yeah." I did, and I was
Grace. Do you hear this?
Yeah, and up until I switched, as you all know. Like, I was blue jeans and a black polo. That was my uniform for a while. Yeah. Horrible look. I looked like I was late for taking my kids to soccer practice every day of the week. So switched out of that. But I respect. This is why we're close. This is why we're friends.
Yeah, aesthetically, we align pretty well. And when we've met, the times that we've met, and we have. The times we met physically in person, and we both have the black jean jackets on. It's like watching a before and after, and like I'm before life and you're after life.
It's truly after life.
After the Hollywood experience.
I'm the ghost that comes into the ballroom and whispers to you, "Don't do this to yourself.
There's still time, Alden. Don't do it." Like a time traveler.
Great Scott, Alden, we got to go back to the future and save you and Sean room. We don't have uniforms as much as acceptably sustainable consistency for emotionally trying times, says Ken Flip. Yeah, there's something about that.
That's true.
I'm like a Homer Simpson. I open up my little chest of clothes there, wardrobe, and it's just all black shirts. And I have some stuff every once in a while. I might switch it up, but.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I will switch up subjects on it. We get to some more serious stuff, but Eric Bass of the band Shinedown, and he was the owner of GPA, like invested in us, and he would come out, and he was there for 5 straight days. Normally he lives in South Carolina, North Carolina border there, and about the 4th day, I was like, Eric, you were in a white T-shirt with like the V cut and a black jeans every day, and he's like, yeah, this is how I do it. When you see me, this is, what you're going to get. This is me. And I was like, I'm done. I switched that night.
Yeah.
Threw clothes out of the closet.
I get you. You had to have a moment of contemplation with yourself. Yeah. You had to face yourself. Not many of us know what our future holds. Alden does. I wish. Jokes aside, I wish.
Speaking of finding our place, you got... Are you going to your high school reunion soon, I hear? Are you going? Are you considering it? What are you doing?
I went from really gung-ho, I want to go,
okay,
to I can't wait. It's going to be so funny. That was my whole thing.
10 years,
it's going to be so funny. 10 years.
10 years, man.
The comedy is what was motivating me. Then some people got involved in the planning that I think are subpar. And so I was like, okay. And then I saw where it is. The invitation is now created. All the details are ironed out. And honestly, not to take it to like a real place, but yes, to take it to a real place. I'm looking at a lot of the people that I know are going to be there, and it's like, unless I'm given a live mic to fucking roast some of you people, I'm not sure I want to be around some of you because I think maybe it's like maybe I started to realize that it's imminent and that we're halfway through June and it's coming up. But
Yeah.
I started to get not anxiety about seeing them again because in the social media age, it's like I'm always
see
plugged
'em,
into what they're
right.
doing. Yeah, I see them.
Yeah.
But I'm like, some of you are like really, really bad people now. And like we're
Yeah.
all just gonna pretend you're not. And that's a
Yeah.
thing that and I know you've talked about that a lot of like people pretending to be something that they aren't or
Sure.
hiding their intentions being a
Yeah.
big thing that you talk about
Yeah.
on Force Center and other shows. And I'm like, nah, some of you are like denying a genocide. Some of you are like, you're not going to bring the MAGA hats to the reunion, but we're going to know. And it's like, maybe I should just have
See,
a get together of people I miss and like not
no,
do an official thing.
no, you got to go. You got to go. Because first of all, that's life, man. Right? You're gonna work with someone. You're gonna be around. You gotta.
Oh yeah, true,
The
100%.
kids younger than you have the biggest problem of just being around people that are different from them, good or bad.
Yeah.
Because I by 30th, I was like, I don't want to go to that kind of / mega reunion. I just missed it. It was last week and I couldn't go. Throw that aside for a second, because you're not wrong. I get what you're saying. You got to be around them. You gotta win, baby.
I want to win. That's the thing.
You gotta
That's
win.
the thing is that I want to win. Like everybody wants to go. And like, I was talking to, not going to put her name out there because I don't know how she feel about it, but I was talking to, I have a friend I went to high school with, and she is also in this graduating class and she is an actress and on stage. And so she's in the Chicago theater scene. Yeah. Trained and, working toward that Broadway career, hopefully, and is in Chicago getting booked and doing well. And she was saying that she doesn't want to go because she doesn't want to deal with like the performative nature of everything. And I'm like, but don't you want to go and be like, I did this play and this commercial and all this stuff. And she's like, no, because I don't think they care. And I'm like, who cares if they care? Like you can win and then even if it doesn't hold later,
she's in a good spot, right? I understand where she's coming from. I would argue with the performative nature of it because that is life. I perform when I step outside my door. Everyone's performing. That's what this is about. And I'm not saying win. Like this isn't competitive.
Sure.
But there's good people there to be found, and there's good times, and it's not bad nostalgia. However, high school is so formative in a destructive way for some of us. Probably for everyone, because even the people that won high school ain't winning now. And I don't mean to turn it into winning time here, but like it's just fun to go rub shoulders, to take stock, man. Watch Grosse Pointe Blank 50 times. Head on over.
Yeah.
How far are you from your high school?
Right hours, a couple hours. Like it's not gonna be bad. Like you just pop down to Miami, and it's gonna be around where we all were, and like.
Yeah, it's great, man. I'm telling you. Now I brought up a comment from Kingsport Cal, who every once in a while says something insightful. Says, go to the 20th, skip the 10th. I don't agree with that. I've been to all of them except for this 30th.
Okay. All right.
But the 10th, the problem with the 10th is it's so close to the genesis of all your problems. So when I went to my 10th, 28, the girl I had a crush on in like 6th grade, and then who I'd seen again in 9th grade when we got back to high school, who went from knowing me, was friendly, and I had a crush on her, to she was the stereotypical blonde, popular cheerleader and wouldn't give me the time of day, and it crushed me, right?
Nice.
And it crushed me. By the way, she's super MAGA. I blocked her on Facebook.
Yes.
It's over.
Yes.
But when she showed up, when she showed up to the 10-year reunion, I turned into a 12-year-old Ken where like I got nervous. I was like, oh God, Shelly's here. Oh God, I was in the corner. Like, she wasn't even, she went, hey, how are you? Kept walking. That was the extent of our, hey, Ken.
Yeah.
But it was fun to experience again and to analyze where you were and where you are now.
Everybody's the main character of their own movie, their own Grosse Pointe Blank. And so we all are ascribing arcs and motivations, and other people are like, I came to eat and drink. And like,
or a lot of them are, if for me it's a small town going back up to a smaller town. It's a little bigger now.
Yeah.
Like, this is a great Saturday night for them. A lot of them are like married to each
Yeah.
other, and I'm not judging that. It's like it's
Sure.
Saturday night. That's why it's so much fun on the 20th or 25th. We did a 25th one, and it was so low key, so fun, and it was like a good outing with friends. So, anyways, I don't.
Here's the
poo-poo them.
issue. Here's the issue with that suggestion, and I understand Kingsport Cal's suggestion. I appreciate it, but my 20th is going to be in 2034, right? There is no guarantee that there will be a country nor a world in 2034. We're scheduled for full climate collapse. What, in the 2040s? Sean Room, you tell me. I think it's the 2040s, right? And so it's like
I'll be around.
I don't know, man. Like 2034, I'll be 38 years old. I don't even want to think about 2034.
Yeah, look, dude, I didn't want to think about 2024. Yeah. 1994, 2024. I'll get there when the floating cars and the flying cars are here. I'll worry about that another time. Yeah. So, side note on that, and we can get to something else here too. I was, by the way, this is my new fidget spinner. I have like a clothespin ended up in my office, and now if you hear me drop this, I was doing comedy, and there's a very funny full-time touring comic, and he was in the green room with me. This is at Flappers last week. He used to be a marine biologist. And we were talking about stuff in the screen room, and he's like, I quit. We're like, why? He's like, because we're fucked. And I wanted to kind of go out and have some fun. And it was like, we're like, what do you mean? He's like, we can't fix this. We can't fix this climate thing. It's done. It's over. I left because I wanted to spend my final days making people laugh. It was just like, oh, great set, man. Like, yeah. So He and Sean Room. At least Sean Room's still fighting for us.
Could be 2040. Could be next Thursday. Thanks, bud. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
Feels good.
Yeah. Which is why on Father's Day, I got in a little bit of an argument with my father, which is rare. We don't talk much. Yeah.
That's the one day.
I called him. Yeah, I called him, and we just talk about weather and blah, blah, blah. But I did the call, and he started with electric cars came up, and he does the thing. Well, those don't really work, and maybe a hybrid, but the grid can't take it. And I said, well, then maybe we should fix the grid to take it so we can help. Because I know there's issues with I know stuff. Sometimes things that you think are saving might generate more energy. Blah blah blah. Sean Room can help us with all that stuff. But I was just like, I don't know if that's the case, then why don't we fix it? Because we don't have enough time. And then he started going in, no, you can't get rid of oil, and we can't do this, and then blah, blah, and then fracking is great, and then I just, then he went to, and then now, why don't you get a job at McDonald's and make $20 an hour? Isn't that crazy? Now my burgers are expensive, and I was like, that's not the reason, Dad. That's. So I don't know.
So next year you're going to reevaluate your strategy, and you're going to go in for a nice, clean, happy Father's Day, and then hang up. And
happy Father's Day. Enjoy your dinner, and I'll see you. But the problem is he's a good man. Like, he's a good man. That's the part of the problem with the divide, and maybe some of the things we're going to talk about today. It's like he's never hurt anyone, around it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I could say, Dad, this is hurting people, but like, and it's hard to get through to someone who's just like, I have this view because this is what I do, and I keep to myself, and I don't hurt nobody, and so just like, what did the $20 McDonald's employee do to you? Nothing. Yeah. And by the way, they ain't surviving. No. That's one of 3 jobs they probably have.
Yeah, because what is with the California $20 is like the East Coast 12. So it's like I don't even know what that does out there. Maybe a little bit different where your parents live, but
no, it's more expensive. It's now a vacation kind of resort town.
Oh, it got gentrified. Love that.
I mean, I don't know if it got gentrified. Pismo Beach was always that. It just grew. Like, it just grew.
And people noticed.
Yeah, it wasn't. To me, gentrification also has something to do with erasing of cultures.
The previous, yeah.
Our country overall has been gentrified going back to a long time ago, 1600s, whatever you want to say. But it's always been a slow, quiet beach town with rich hippies and, not the good kind. It's a thing. I don't want to talk about it. We're good.
Jerry says that sounds like his dad. Kingsburg Cal says that's a little too much. yeah, possibly. See, that's why I solved this problem by not having one. Father's Day.
There you go.
I just continue on with my life.
There you go.
There was a time in my life when I would hit up all my best friends' dads, send them a text,
Really? Okay.
text my uncles. Like I would hit
Sweet.
up everybody that was relevant. Now, no one. I'd say Happy Father's Day to my stepfather,
Yeah.
and my brother-in-law if he's in town, and I move on. And I just I don't participate in it.
I don't think you need to.
I don't think I need to either.
I think you do.
I don't think I need to. Look, man, it's my trauma. All right, it's all good. It's all good.
You voted. You voted.
Yeah, I have. But yeah, so
hit me.
Well, just in general, I'm just looking at the comments. I'm just interacting with the listener base.
You're interacting with our community.
Yeah,
the anytime community.
I didn't want to skip over Natalie's comment. Natalie, hello. I missed my high school reunion. I left the country and wasn't going back for that. It doesn't look like I missed much. It's good that you can see that though. It's nice to be vindicated. Like realizing that okay, I didn't miss something that I regret.
It's not life changing. Yeah,
no,
I don't disagree with that.
This could be a whole thing. This could be a whole thing. I randomly ran into a high school crush a few years ago, and I booked it in the opposite direction. 8984M. I'm gonna need more. Why did you run?
Yeah. Get that at 8984M. I'm fascinated with that a little bit. I don't know. Because it happened to me. It was crazy. It was weird. I couldn't process it. Like I hadn't seen or even kind of thought about this. This wasn't someone that you dated. This was like, you're in sixth grade and you looked across the room and you're like, me likey that person. And you don't know what that means. Like you figured out. And here I am, 28, live in LA at this point, trying to act cooler than I was because I didn't own a suit yet. And, man, like, dude, like my insides were shaking. And I couldn't figure out. I think you're transported back to a very unstable part of your life.
Yeah, it's kind of like what songs do, or like visiting an old place, and it just your sense memory kicks in. It's got to be related to like fight or flight in some way.
A little bit. I want someone smarter to explain it, but yeah, it was not just like ooh. It was just like I was transported back into what do I do? Oh my god! Oh my god! She's here! She's here!
And so at this time, were you in a romantic relationship with someone else?
No, because I was late bloomer. I think that would arrive a year later or so. My first actual real.
So you didn't have the sword and shield of being like, I could just latch on to my person and move through this.
Or now not only having Grace on my side, but now I'd be like, I wouldn't want you if you tried. Like, you know what I mean? Like, stop.
Yeah.
Make America great again. Make you great for once. Like that's what I would have said. But
for the very first time. Ken Bloom said, high school reunions hold nothing for me. I've already kept in touch with the people I've cared to maintain relationships with. The rest is all mild curiosity that doesn't justify the awkwardness. That's the thing, is that it's that balance of like, is there enough potential surprise? Like, what is the open man?
Social media's changed. Like you said, you're connected with people. Yeah, for me, the 10 was awkward, but the 20, 25, 20 and 25 weren't awkward. I walked in, like I said, like I walked into a yacht, like I was being Olivia Rodrigo was singing about me. That's a cover.
Wow.
She does a cover of a Carly Simon song called "I'm So Vain." You're so vain.
That's a young kid's reference. That's one of the Gen Z girlies.
Look, man, I listen to Chappell Roan on my own now. I don't even need you.
I'm so proud of you.
I don't even.
So proud.
I was working. Let me tell you something, mother trucker. I was working out yesterday, lifting weights, kid. You know what was blaring? Pink Pony Club.
Hell yeah, dude! I'm telling you, like
my neighbor was probably like, "What's going on over there?"
Pink Pony Club, like yeah, man. She was on the Tonight Show last night.
Show. Yeah.
And Fallon, being Fallon about it, but she was so on it. She's so made for this that she wouldn't even let Fallon's Fallonness make her even less cool for even a second.
Yeah.
Like he was doing his like very clearly didn't prepare for the interview, and he tried to make it funny and was like, "So I Googled you before the show," and she was like, "Is that because you didn't know anything about me before this show?" And he just bursts out laughing, and she goes, "Because I Googled you too, Jimmy." And I was like, "Oh God,
don't do that. Don't do that." I'm in the Pink Swolney Club. Jared's on timeout. Time him out for wordplay and pundry.
He tried.
No.
Hit the like button.
Keep
If not for
going,
us, then
climb.
for Chapel Run.
There you go. There
Okay,
you
we
go.
have a question here. Do people still hang out in the same groups as they did in high school?
Yes,
Well,
that's what's so fun.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
All the little nerdy guys and
Jock.
gals in the corner, the jocks in one corner, and then there's these the dance. But I went straight to the dance floor of the 25. And it's fantastic. I can't. The one of the reasons I didn't go to my 30th is hardly anyone was going, and they made it a picnic in the park. I'm like, I don't.
No.
That ain't my.
That's not good.
Bag,
I want to get sloshed with people.
Yeah.
Jonah's here.
Sedated.
Hi, Jonah. Jonah, one of our good friends, amazing Star Wars follow. If you love Star Wars, hung out in London. Ken is like, I'm retired from Star Wars follows.
I got to tell you, if I see one more hashtag Star Wars Twitter community, like stop.
Twitter.
Stop.
I did the introduction. I peer pressured into it. I did it already. I sent it. Yeah. Last night, it's funny. Like, hold on, we're gonna get to Jonah's comment in a second. But
sorry, I distracted with some grub.
No, it's cool. Last night, 3 a.m. was like, man, fuck these introductions. I'm not introducing myself. I don't need to introduce myself. Like, if you want to find out, put the effort in. And then today I started to see some that were really wholesome, and I
they're all wholesome.
Got suckered in.
They're all wholesome, and that's why you're going to be tossed into a locker.
I did it. They're not. That's the thing, is that I wish, right? Like we've talked about, like, we need to reintroduce bullies like the Yellowstone wolves. Like, and like, if we had that, maybe there would be balance. But anyway,
bring up this comment.
Jonah, who I adore, says high school crushes, they can be hard to shake and always get butterflies, but a teacher crush never leaves you. At least for me. I laugh my ass off. That's
okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever had an outright crush on a teacher. But I do enjoy seeing them in new light. Like, I've talked to teachers from back then, and now I can just call them by their first name, and that's always fun. But
really, that's always weird to me. Yeah, I didn't have in high school. I didn't have what I would call like a workable crush, meaning like it was more like I admire this teacher, and she's great, but she's also, I knew her husband was the vice principal of my junior high. Like, not that, but. Elementary school, my second grade teacher, I was madly in love with. What do you
think she's doing now?
Probably yelling that there's only two genders, and is upset that her kids are woke. Like, it just probably.
Her grandkids are watching woke Star Wars.
Yeah, that's generally what my hometown is.
No, that's fun. But
Kingsport
Cal. I had one teacher crush, Mrs. Tate. Her husband died a few years ago back of a heart attack. So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, Kingsport Cal's like, yeah, it's my time to shine.
It's your time to shine, man. You played the long game. You waited for the universe to take him. So it's not like you killed him.
I'm in a grumpy mood. I think I should apologize to the Star Wars community. But this is also part of the episode today. Not necessarily just Star Wars community stuff, but just can joy defeat anger? And I'm being a little angry. I'm being more my thumb now than the joyous person I try to be. I don't want to, because Jerry says, look, I post one too. All of you posted one, and you should, because we should have beacons of light out there in the galaxy.
I'll write yours for you.
No, I don't want anyone to find me. Like, I don't want anyone to find me in the Star Wars community. You're
Luke. You are so Luke.
Force Center's been around for 10 years. We're perhaps the best. We have influenced every show that you like. Find me. I don't want to give you my opinions in a Twitter form.
I love you. You're so
2-hour show. 4 hours every week.
You're so funny. I'm not gonna name names or give details to tell tales out of school, but there was a point in the past couple of weeks where somebody who checked out this show and was like, I went to follow your co-host Ken, and he has me blocked. I was like, oh, it's not personal. I was like, he laid waste to the entirety of the entire community.
I feel bad. I feel bad because I don't think I don't do a blockchain type of thing, but it was a universal like nope. And
anytime you saw any words,
any type of, did you praise Andor too hard? Probably blocked. There's just
Did you say you loved Last Jedi while misunderstanding what it is?
Yeah, did you say Last Jedi deconstructed the idea of the Jedi and showed us that it needed to go? That's a block because that was not the movie. Yeah, it was that type of period of time. So I told you, and I hope you did communicate to that swell person. I unblocked them. I apologize.
I absolutely did.
I don't even know who they are. Like at the time, didn't know who they are.
Nope. You're going through a period right now, and that's what we're talking about. So like joy, can joy win? I guess the short answer is theoretically, but I also think that it does not mean that like last night I said something about like, talking about if it's not just about Star Wars, obviously, which we all know.
Right.
Logically, we know this. It's a grift, it's a pipeline, it's all these things. We don't need to do a 3-hour expose about it right now. But there is something to be said for the fact that this gets appropriated because it's popular and because it's existed all this time and because they can't do it with other things like Star Trek because they would be laughed out of the room. And every time they have tried to do that, Star Trek is like, yeah, we have whole episodes about race and unions and like you can't really do that here. It's too blatant. So Star Wars is just perfect for this. But with that joy, it doesn't mean that you don't need to have teeth. Like there's a balance to be had. Like you can have optimism, but you can also stand firm in it. And I think that's what we're realizing now. We've talked about this with Acolyte, like more so than post sequels, more so than during some of these other television programs. We've seen people be like, no, not playing that game. Fuck off. Like the good and the happiness is being, I think buttressed a little bit, as Benoit Blanc would say, buttress that Twitter thread. I think that people are realizing now, like, no, yeah, these are my friends. This is what I'm about. All these introductions. Hello, how are you? However, we're not going to play your bullshit game anymore. We're not going to let you run this. And that's good. That's inspiring. I think we're moving in a decent direction. But yeah, I think at the same time, we just need to sometimes just lay things out. Like Molly Damon's here. Wonderful example. Incredible presence and a great friend. Just used their platform this week to just lay out some facts. She didn't fight anyone, but this is what it is. This is what it was. Don't cherry pick. You nerd.
Is that what you mean? Yeah. No. I second what you say. And I made the thumbnail this week in the topic of can joy defeat anger? And I'll say this: I don't think it can. And I don't say it cynically. I'm coming from someone not only in the Star Wars talking community, but in stand up and this and that. And it's never going to win in a decisive war, but I think long term it's the better path. And I think I wanted some clarification from you. I think I understand a little bit more what you just said here right now versus even some texts you sent me this week. Because it's been a tough week. I get it for folks. And I've been frustrated too. Of the bite, of standing strong. I do think there's a little bit more. It's not even pushback to the grifts. It's just it ain't working. Like it's working monetarily and it's working view wise. And I'm jumping all around. I don't think you'll ever defeat that, right? Force Center will never have millions of views because you come to us for 2 hours of thoughtful, insightful, real-world conversations. And we're not the only one that does that. That will never work versus someone yelling about anyone's birthday or anything. And I'm not even talking about the political, social stuff. And yes, I think it's all intertwined. I think you and I are in agreement of that. But in a general sense. You'll never defeat that because I've seen it too much in stand-up. I've seen the people selling out Madison Square Garden, and you'll never stop them. So standing strong in the joy and going on a show and explaining without acknowledging what's going on directly, names, people, statements, but saying this is what's going on, I think that can be a valuable tool going forward.
Yeah, it can.
That makes sense?
Absolutely. But I will say, you reference like things I text. When I text Ken, it gets a lot gnarlier than it ever does on air here.
But as it should, because you know me, this is 10% of what I text you.
Totally. Oh yeah.
I think sometimes I text you and just go, fuck this person.
You do. You're like, fuck this person in particular. No, it's never that vengeful, but you will be like, here's this horrible sentiment that's going around. And instead of debunking it publicly, you'll debunk it with me. And I think it's like how the X-Men have a training room where, you know, they can just hit holograms, you know. But I know it's called the Danger Room, by the way. No one needs to correct me in the comments.
I wouldn't continue.
But I am very much of the mind of like, look, we don't need to be Luth and Rail. We don't need to be damned for what we do.
Let's not. I don't want to break Jared's heart again.
We don't need to swing all the way that way. But I do think we have, in the nicest way, and I've articulated this a little bit online, and it's, you know, been some good conversations about it. We have, with the best of intentions, defanged, I think, a lot of the good faith side, the people that are acting with love, and we have a sort of taken the doormat approach in a certain way. And I get it, because we're exhausted, because this has been going on since 2015, and people are tired, and a lot of people don't have the privilege to say, hey, fuck you. You know, if you're a woman, a person of color, if you're in the queer community, you can't do those things without risking not just safety, you know, but even less than safety, peace of mind for your day, your week, your month. I get it. But at the same time, when when we meet sort of like these monsters at the gate, and we go to the gate and we just say, hey, stop being silly about Chiari Mundi, we miss the point. Like we're meeting them in their fake argument, and we're not saying what we need to be saying is, hey, stop using Chiari Mundi to mask the fact that you're upset that there's a young black performer at the head of the show, that there's a lesbian woman running the show. Like if we keep meeting them on their terms, which is the Saw Gerrera quote that I actually do like, as opposed to some of his other quotes, if you keep meeting them on their terms, you're gonna lose. You can't meet them on their terms.
And that's the guy that killed his sister Tech in the rebellion, right? Yes. However,
give or take.
This isn't even pushback. You're also alienating I've had conversations with friends the last couple weeks who were like, I don't like this show, and I can't say that publicly because I'm going to be accused of being blah, 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 these things. And it ain't that. I just don't like it. So when you're at that gate, how you fight to me is important.
Absolutely, but we also can't
I think you're calling.
Like
are you calling for specificity?
Yes, and that's the thing. I would also say that to those people, because it's like I've seen some of that. I can't. How am I supposed to tweet about Acolyte, you know, without being called a this or a that? And it's like, be thorough. Like,
but I don't think that acknowledges the truth of some of the situations where I have struggled with even being a little bit more honest about some of the situations, even in the world, because it's not a place this isn't the town square where that's going to be accepted, is my fear. Now, you might say that's not a reality, but I'd have to experience that in person. Does that make sense?
No. I wouldn't say it's not a reality. It does make sense. I would just say, like, I think we're at a point now where we have to start deciding, you know, you're never not going to have discomfort being constantly public facing. And so we just need to decide, not lesser of two evils, but there's a tad of a pick your poison element to
I feel you.
Some of it.
This isn't a debate. I'm trying to get to the bottom of what you're feeling.
No, not at all. I just think, and I'm trying not to just be aggressive about it, not with you, but in general, name names. But it's like we have basically allowed for 8+ years people to completely control the conversation with zero pushback whatsoever. And whether we knew to push back or not, that's a conversation we had. But it's
I'd gladly talk about that after. Yeah.
This Acolyte rage and all this stuff, if we keep telling people from the rooftops, it's just silly and it's in space. It's fake it in space is everybody's catchphrase. It's fake it in space. They don't care. They're still making money. So like we could put that out of the way. But then you're not actually addressing any of the issues. Like, it is okay in sort of a paradox of intolerance way. It is okay to tell these people they don't get it. We do. We're going to protect our own. We're going to protect people of color and queer people that see themselves in this show. We don't have to tolerate your bullshit. We see through it. And I get it. That's going to cause fights. And so I'm not telling everybody there's not a draft. You're not obligated to go and fight.
Lyndon B. Alden Diaz.
We will be calling out numbers at the end of this stream. and then you have to go fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, and again, I understand that there are those people that are like, how do I just talk about a grievance? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, I part of that is like, I hate that there's a space where unless you're posting a thumbnail like this and then,
Yeah.
just reducing everything down,
Yeah.
maybe if it wasn't that, you could.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think, this comes back to an earlier conversation we had on this show, where you counseled me about like, maybe we do need to preface everything. And so maybe those people should say like, hey, this has nothing to do with identities and this has nothing to do with disrespecting creators or actors. This story thing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe that's the way. I don't know. But it does feel like we don't want to, like people took, I said this to Jared yesterday in an off-air conversation. Michelle Obama was not on Yavin 4. We have to go high because they went low is not always the case. It's good morally, but
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Continue. Sorry, I'm taking it
I'm
along.
sorry, Nikki. 1 of every 10 listeners to this stream is sent to the wall. Yeah, I agree. We should do
God, that scene was. I know we're not going to see that guy again, Nikki, for this season. That was my favorite scene in the show.
The best.
The doormat thing, I understand. It is we're not going to engage. I think agitators need agitation, and I think if you stand back, the fires can burn. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I've never once organically seen a tweet from Star Wars Theory in real life because I block him or not engage, not in my algorithms. I see him quote retweeted. That's how I know he exists. Other than he did a show at Collider right now, blah blah blah, and it's a different conversation. Sure. He's easy to miss when you're about 5'4". But I think so that is part of my approach too. Of like, agitators need agitation. I'm not going to fuel that fire. But then that leaves the door open because you're trying to play nice with people who are tripping you, and so can you out trip them is the question I have, and I don't, and that's when can joy defeat anger? It cannot. Because humans are going to react more to the anger because it's funnier. It's not in theory, but it comes off quicker. It's an angry joke is better than a celebration or a joyful joke. Yeah. The show's being upset, and that was the sign of the times. And going back a few years, 15, 20 years ago, when all this stuff kind of exploded, the late 90s, the aggressive nerds taking over with Ain't It Cool News and that kind of stuff. That's where a lot of this started, but no one knew to stop it then. And I'm trying to find the best way forward. And for me, joy is a simple way to look at it. But I have to change the people around me. Force Center gets more comments of, I used to think this, but now I don't after listening to you guys. And we never once have yelled at them.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to ever change someone who comes to the Acolyte with the baggage that you're talking about.
No. And that's the thing is, I don't think I want to change it. That's the thing is that.
What do you want to do?
I don't like, because redemption is on screen, like that. We like redemptive stories. It is not on us. The onus is not on us to redeem any of these people, especially if they're all the way in the grift or in the hate. But
yeah,
there comes a point where it's like, okay, so like a very simple thing that gets said a lot by everyone, including us at times, is Star Wars fandom so toxic. It's like, I'm sorry. I'm almost 30. It's 2024. I don't claim these people. They're not a part of fandom. When we go to Star Wars Celebration, you don't feel an ounce of this. That's like rejuvenation. That's the Holy Land. You'll have all this stress leading up to it, and then those 4 to 5 days, you're just like, wow, and it feels so good. I don't claim these people, and I think that it's not about like, can we change them? And credit to you all in Force Center for people that are willing to open and listen, because you guys do open up the door that way. But we're at this point now where it's like, there needs to be some sort of, I feel there needs to be some sort of like protecting, like there needs to be something that happens, like rallying around each other, which it feels like we're starting to see a little bit of.
I think that's good, because I think I've seen that happen. There was something that happened this week. I'm trying not to be mean. I saw a little video posted, and I almost, when I say almost, if I had been drunk, I would have done it. I almost tweeted to this person I don't know and don't follow, like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
Yeah.
You don't do this. But they did it. And there was a rally around the person as there should be. So I'm trying to understand a little bit more. I I don't know. It's so hard to. Not even about naming names. Just trying to be.
It's not. It's just
honest.
I'm also
like,
trying to be balanced because part of me, there's a rant inside of me about like how we're focused on stickers and being cute and like acting like there's not a problem and TikTokifying the entire thing while your queer creator is being attacked and you don't have a goddamn thing to say about it. There's a rant there. But
but I don't. Yeah, but that's a creator that has said, I don't want to hear, quote, the fucking diversity question again because she's past it. You know what I mean? Like, she's good. Yeah. She's good. And that's a quote from her. So it's like, I want to, it's a hard balance for me because I'm in a better position and I've always had an easier life. So my platform's a 2-hour news show or a 2-hour breakdown show.
Yeah.
I don't engage with Twitter because I haven't for years. I didn't see the point anymore. After George Floyd, I was like, I'm not. This is all too horrible. I'm not. No one needs to know what I ate for lunch, and no one needs to give a damn about what I think about Star Wars unless they want to go to my show. And I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's what changed me forever on it. So I guess I want to try to get what's the best approach, and might not have that answer because it's a rant and such.
Well, just because it's like it's so multifaceted that like I don't want to be, episode 2 Anakin. Like I think we should just have one person who's in charge, and like I don't want. I don't think it's like what does Alden think is best. I just think it's like I wish people were having the conversation about what is best more. It's like everybody just wants to preach constantly in these spaces, which are connected to a larger socio-political problem, which do become a media pipeline because it's all intertwined. And when you have the second we had commentators out there like Shapiro starting to get involved with this stuff and things like that, like the signs were there even 6, 7, 8 years ago and longer. When the best we do is just ignore, just highlight positive. It's like ignoring is not going to help anyone. It's just not.
But here's the thing. Here's an example. I apologize if I've said this before. Remember the not all women phase of Twitter? Like the first time, like there was a really good, powerful, organized hashtag, right? During that time period, I was still working in the mall, and I was definitely number one, 100% way more, in my old voting records, But I've always been just like my father. Been a nice enough dude all the time. Just a lot of things changed and crystallized for me later on, and it's a journey. Anyways. A friend and I, I was not all men guy. Not me. I'm a realistic type of guy. But there was an incident. I was going into the mall when I worked there, and a young lady came out, and attractive lady, whatever, just doing mind her own goddamn business, going to the mall to pick up a slushie and an eyeliner. I don't fucking know. Her right to come in just order. She walked out, and there was 2 delivery dudes, and they started checking her out, catcalling her, all that kind of stuff. And I was telling my female friend, I said, I cannot change them. The only thing I could do is punch them. But what I can do is change the people around me. What I can do, number one, if they try to touch her, if they there's a lot of things to do, but it's violence. So like my friend Jeff May is the best nerd. He's a Golden Spikes amateur boxer. He'll say whatever you want. He'll knock you out in 2 seconds, right? That's the only thing they respond to, which is a problem. That's a societal problem that we need to fix. But the only thing I can do is change the dudes that work for me to not do that. It's the only weapon I feel I have. And that's why I'm not saying ignore it. It might come off as ignoring those guys. But me going, don't say that, it turns into a fight. And I'm prepared to win a fight. But that's the reality of that situation. And I told my friends, I can only protect you, fight you, or fight for you, but in changing the dudes that work for me. It's the only thought I had. And I'm not saying it's right, but that's where I have that approach going to what this stuff is right now. I cannot change a grifter who has no place in this business anymore, so he's got to bury Star Wars on a funeral day. I can't change that froth to tip guy because he has nothing left anymore.
Once again, reintroduce bullies like the Yellowstone Wolves.
But the only thing that's going to work, it's not right. It's Saw Gerrera. The only thing that works is violence, right, for those folks, for me. And I can only mock those who will attend it. There's no legacy to it, right? Rush Limbaugh's dead and buried with absolutely a destructive legacy in media for sure, but with adding nothing to the world, and that's what he's remembered for. This is a complicated conversation you and I are trying to work through because we're on the same side. I'm literally trying to say, all right, what's the best approach? But I also I just have a realistic view on. When I'm in the comedy clubs, man, I cannot stop someone who's an asshole because the crowds are cheering him. This is how.
Well, that's the thing is, like I want to be clear. I don't think we can change these YouTubers, these people, these anything. What annoys me is letting them run the conversation.
Okay.
With complete impunity.
How do you propose we stop it? I'm not asking a challenging question.
I think people need to just have a little bit more gall, to be frank about it. Like I think it's not, because again, this is digital too. That's the other thing that's different about your example is that, you know, if you're in a place of privilege and you're able to say things and you're able to speak, it's at the point now where it's like you kind of have an obligation to do so. Like this might not be great for like the algorithm to use this phrase, so sorry Google if you get upset about it, but I had people telling me to kill myself. We've had other people telling, you know, like threats of rape and violence and all this stuff, and people screaming and yelling, and the outright homophobia and the racism and everything. It's like you can't get them to stop doing that, but we can be louder about the fact that it exists, be louder about the fact that they are not these are not Star Wars fans, these are interlopers. These are people appropriating a thing so that they can create this pipeline to other things. Like until we are starting to have those conversations, we will continue to allow this to happen. So long as there is a week of people tweeting about Chiari-Mundi, it's like, yeah, you know, we all did it. I threw out my little Chiari-Mundi seed analysis, whatever. But it's not about that. It's not about witches. It's not about fire. And we keep engaging with the smokescreen of the conversation instead of the conversation. It would be like if we went back 10 years ago and had whole conversations about why a tan suit is actually good for Obama's style profile. Like, no, it's a waste of time to talk about why Barack was allowed to wear tan.
Right.
It's a stupid conversation. Right. Obama liked Dijon mustard was another one they had. Does he think he's better than us? You can't just have regular. It's like
my dad said that.
He just likes Dijon. We all do. We all like to, if you like regular yellow mustard over Dijon, you're on crack. So it's just like arguing on these terms is dumb.
But they're in. My friend Ken Plum says this. They're insincere people, and you're trying to meet them with sincerity. And I'm not saying this cynical. This is what I'm saying. My example of those guys, those delivery guys. I cannot change them. So what does, you know, a tweet of this is Force Center's a safe place? Of course it is, because if you're there, you know it, and we ban people that aren't. I'm not trying to say it's not effective. I'm just trying to say what's the best approach to that, because I resent a little bit, not from you, but I resent a little bit of, well, you've got to say something. I don't have to say anything. I've earned that right to listen. I've earned that right to, you know, where I stand. And when you come to our show, you know where we are, because you don't last long. No one's there. Go to our comment section. You got people. We got people this week in our comment section going, this is the most refreshing comment section in the world. Also, we're a tiny, tiny YouTube channel. Podcast is bigger than YouTube. I'm kicking back you a little bit of like, I don't know how to change those guys, because they don't want to be changed. So how do I change
that's the
them?
thing is that I just want to reiterate, I don't think they can be changed either. But I also don't think that like you know, not just to respectfully disagree with Ken Plume here, they aren't running the conversation. I disagree with that. I do think that they are, because the conversation is different for, I think, maybe our 20-somethings age bracket in terms of the online community. They are running that conversation. Like I can't tweet the word acolyte, even let's say I was just using the word in terms of the Oxford Dictionary. I would get my entire comment section blown up. It would be all about homophobia, racism.
Yeah.
Oh, did you know she worked for Harvey Weinstein? Yeah, motherfucker. She also did an interview talking about how she's afraid of him. Like, we'll be doing, like, they are running it. They are absolutely running it. Christina Ariel will tell you that they are running it. Like,
Yeah.
Moses Ingram will tell you that they're running it. Ewan McGregor will tell you that they're running it. Like,
absolutely.
They are running it. I'm sorry, but they are. Like, yes, you're right that they are already primed. That's true.
Yeah. But so, yeah. So how do I stop that? I mean, I'm asking, like, how do I stop that?
But I don't think we can stop them from doing it. But I think that there can be a louder positivity, not in a, it's ignoring his positivity. But there's a reason why We Are the World worked. Like, because it was like, oh damn, like
was Cyndi Lauper.
And it's not about like, thinking that you're Jesus and putting together some project about like how we can be all great, but like just have a little bit more fire behind good faith. I don't think that that's wrong. I don't think that it makes you as bad, because that's another thing too, is that, well, if you tell this grifter to go F himself because he checks notes, threatened women and queer people, that makes you just as bad. It's the people that don't understand that you should punch Nazis. Like, it's that same, like, well, they protected speech says that they are allowed to say that. That's like, sure,
right,
allowed to say it.
I just I watched a 2-part doc on the rise and fall of shock jocks last night. Yes, it's
I think that
misinterpretation of free speech from a lot of those assholes.
Yeah, not pushing back on you. I just think that you maybe thought going into this that I thought that we could like purify them. We can't. They're not being redeemed.
Yeah. Well, okay, fair enough. I'm just saying you're all kind of white noise to me, if I'm being honest. Like that. Like, I've told you privately, I'll tell you publicly. I'm off of Star Wars Twitter because of the young lefties, not because of the right grifters. I'm off of Star Wars Twitter because of them. I'm saying that pretty seriously. I'm off because there's no space to actually just exist. And I have it might be a younger generation thing too. That's why sometimes I tell you, come back to me when you're 40. It's not a cynicism. It's this ain't it, man. And I'm, as someone who has been in more fights than anyone, I'm in this space right now. I'm telling you, they ain't stopping unless you knock them out. And I don't want to do that. No one wants to do that. And also, by the way, they can knock me out, and I don't want to deal with that. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I get a little grumpy about it, because I'm like, I ain't all. We're going to fight over. It's a civil war that happens sometimes, and it's like on that side, and it's just like I can't deal with it, and so I've pulled away. I've never, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I'm getting raw and real, buddy, because like that's why I roll my eyes at the Star Wars Twitter family thing. It's like this ain't. You're not. Go have a picnic. I can't deal with it. And I don't.
But if not that, and not punching them back, then what?
Build the community around you. That's all I can say. That's all I can say.
Which is nice. I mean, and to Ken's point here, you're not going to squash anger with anger. You squash it by elevating folks. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I also think that there's a way to elevate people that is a little bit like, again, protecting. Like, it's not just, hey, this person's great. I'm going to send them a sticker. Swag box, yay, problem solved. It's, hey,
I've never got a swag box.
You get this. You actually get this. You're standing for what it stands for. Like, there's like everything that I've talked about with these digital spaces, having grown up in them, which is the other big thing. The difference between us is that I grew up in it. I never knew a time without it, ever.
Yes, and I feel as though I don't need it anymore. Like, in the sense of like,
and that you had it before, you lived before it,
you
live after it. So that's different.
Outside of Star Wars, I'm on a thread where me and my friends, screenshot some people we don't like in our former space, and just be like, and it's not toxic political stuff. It's just like, what is this fucker doing? Like, why is he using social media for this? Like, that's my point of view. And I think that's generational. Yeah. You came of age, and MySpace was already the thing, versus even Friendster.
I think that's this important question. We need our version of the Imagine Celeb video. Who will be our hero to do this? So yeah, I'm gonna get Ken to sing the first line, and then we'll see if George Lucas will come in and sing after. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And
Yeah,
again, we've
yeah,
made this a Star Wars conversation because it's unavoidable given the climate, but it
yeah.
isn't just a Star Wars thing. It's in general.
Oh
I
yeah,
think, yeah, like all of the,
yeah.
you know,
I've said before how you talk about pop culture, how you take it in is how you see the world, and that's part of the problem. I've been more angry over the last couple of years. My content is changed, and there's that C word, and you know, my audience disappeared, so I have to rebuild up and find a way to keep who I am and who I want to be now by also entertaining. Yeah, that's tough. I get it. Yeah, I don't know.
Scotty, Ken, do your Star Wars Twitter introduction here. No, he won't. I tried. I offered to write it for him, Scotty. He won't do it.
I don't want to be. I want to. I'm backtracking. I just like. But I'm not. I'm being honest. I rolled at it.
Yeah.
I rolled at it because
Yeah.
I'm just
I
like.
did too.
What? What do you do? Like, what is this? Like,
I did
just,
too.
Just be.
I just thought,
be something. Don't tweet it.
I just
be
thought,
it. Like, just like.
for a second, like I rolled it. I was like, fuck this. This is lame. This is more TikTokification. And then I thought maybe there is a merit to this approach as well, but that's also after a week of people like me and Hector Navarro and just other
Hector's
people
great
out there saying like there is a bigger problem happening. There is even other people that we like, Dorina, like there's a bigger problem here. And no one seems to want to talk about it. To Ken Plume's point in the comments, he said like, but it's also about the space. Like that app is built for that, which is true too. And maybe that's on us about the alternatives. All the alternatives have failed so far.
Yeah. Threads is where
Threads is an abject failure and has been since the day they launched with no messaging and no groups and no anything.
Yeah.
Hive had potential, but then got smacked by that security problem, and they can't come back from it.
It was like a weekend of Hive.
That was a great, awesome 2 days. The first 2 days of Hive were akin to the first 2 days of Pokemon Go, which that's as close as we've ever come to stopping everything. If we had launched Pokemon Go in like areas of conflict, like the Ukraine and Palestine, and like maybe things would be better, but alas, we launched it here. We wasted it on this place.
Yeah. No. What is it? Star Wars tweet.
Star Wars, and then TWT is Twitter.
Got it. None from me. God bless you all doing it because it's also fun and uniting.
Everybody loves a meet cute. Everybody loves the celebration bar.
Do they?
Oh, you love the celebration bar. You love the bar.
Oh,
You're grumpy.
Yeah. No, you talking about the hotel lobby bar? Yeah. Absolutely.
I want to address something that you said though, not because I think anyone's gonna like hold you to it, but I just want to give you time to clarify.
Yes.
Because I do not feel like answering comments later about did Ken just equate the grifters with the young. No, I want to give you the opportunity to say that's not what you said because we've had this full conversation.
Yeah, I don't explain it without being a little bit of an a-hole, but like Threads is a great example of all the people who our hearts are in the right spot, but they've also missed a lot. Like the conversation about the Jedi or the bad deranged police cops is incorrect. It's just wrong, and that's not coming from the grifter set. So let's take right and left out of it. It's coming from people who think they have a better handle on Star Wars than they do, and it's just incorrect. It's in the text. It's in the text of everything, including the show.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I just got 15 new followers, so you lose. Everything I said is right. No, I'm kidding.
and it's, but you can't have that. I don't feel like you can have that conversation on social media, Threads especially. And it's just, that's the annoying thing where I'm like, this is.
But when you say
I do this for 2 hours,
I'm more sick of the young Twitter. Like, you're not saying the progressive. I just want to clarify for you because I know your heart and what you mean.
Yeah,
you're not saying that pisses you off more. You're saying
not their beliefs.
Their Twitter policing is more Twitter policing and harder to ignore. Yeah,
I have a friend. I'll leave him out of here. He is about my age. He's a comic. A black man with a different history than I certainly have. and he is on every fight that you want him to be on, and louder than I am, and like on social media. He recently went to a club that is owned by someone we all don't like, right? The society doesn't like, and he got so much shit for it, and it said something. It just said, and he tweeted about it. I'll keep it out of it, but he tweeted out of it, and he used terms like right and left, but that encompasses what I feel about it,
because that's real too. I mean, you remember 2022. I had people who I would largely politically agree with and socially agree with leading Alden is making the Twitter space unsafe for women because I copied and pasted a meme onto a Wookiee. So,
well, yeah,
like we're also dealing with that.
Memes. But that's the energy. But that's the energy.
That's also a thing. Yeah.
Help me clarify if I'm not clarifying it right. It's that energy where I'm like, you are a more direct problem to me. And again, we're not talking about social issues, my privilegism. I'm just in my going online on Twitter. You are more of a direct problem to me that's just annoying as fuck that I don't want to engage with. So I that's why I shut it out.
Because the other folks, has not been culled the way you've culled.
Yes. Yeah. The other folks in 2017, 2018 did go out of me, but make no mistake, I've had an easier life and will always have an easier life because of what I look like and feel like.
You had people that I would agree with politically, and you would agree with politically, going after you and your old broadcast team, saying you guys were Trumpies because you liked Rise of Skywalker. So,
yes, that's a great example.
That has also happened.
That was when it started to twist, where you had what I thought were intelligent, thoughtful people say, "Well, clearly J.J. Abrams went into Reddit. It just made it's like get the fuck out of here with that, because that's just as much as lies as some of the other stuff, and it's not equating to both sides. It's just saying you're not productive. I don't want to engage with you. Also, I made a living off this stuff, and a lot of the other folks recording their podcasts Thursday night after work, and it's like, don't come after my food, right? Like, don't come after, and that's where I got a little grumpy over it. Where it's just like, stop.
And I just wanted to give you time to do that because I could see the comments coming of like, did Ken say that no?
Yeah, but that would be part of the problem, Alden. That would be part of the problem. Where those people would be like, yes, exactly. The fact that you said that and don't know me with a 25-year public career, that shows that's why I'm blocking you. That's exactly the problem. Because they would say that, and I'd be like, fuck you. Fuck you. Because that's the problem. Because you pray for nuance and you can't bring it to the table yourself. That's exactly the problem. Thank you. You clarified it in my mind.
But in preempting exactly in doing Minority Report to figure out where this would go.
Exactly the goddamn problem. Like, that's exactly it.
That's a part of it too. And again, let me I'm about to get ready. Jimmy Neutron Brain Blast. That was a cartoon we had when we were kids.
I remember it.
Ken's like, all right, listen, motherfucker. I knew Jimmy. The connective tissue between our problems is this exactly.
Yes.
There is an intersection of people that know better, that stand for the right things, that are all the things right in the middle of this circle, that are real quick to do exactly what we just said. They show up. Actually, that Black Chrysanthemum meme means, actually, you're liking Palpatine and Rise means, and where the fuck are you when anything that matters is going on? There are people that were cashing checks writing articles about how everything else Disney Star Wars sucks and Andor is the only good thing. It's dunking on everything. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, blah, blah, blah. Saying that they are the smart progressive type and therefore this is only good and everything else is just playing with action figures and fucking dumb and blah, blah, blah. But now that people are getting death, rape threats, homophobia, this is the worst it's been, guys. This is the worst it's been since after TLJ. By a mile. Where are all of you? Not doing any, no policing. You saved your policing.
I'll say fuck them too. I'll say fuck them. Fuck their frosted tips. Fuck the sexual harassers that run YouTube channels. Fuck them too. Here, how about that?
Yeah. Oh, look. This is the first time tuning in. I'm very glad I did. We're doing it right. Yell more.
People are always like, I don't understand some of the things you said your past, Ken. Like in terms of like your past job. This is more what I was like on the job.
I'm just reviewing some of the comments here.
Which isn't a good place to be.
Nikki Kumar, Ken put into words a lot of how I'm seeing things more and more. Didn't quite know the best way to say. Appreciate you guys giving this topic the room to breathe and flip. Stop kissing up. Stop kissing up, Nikki.
First of all, I have an issue with Kumar too. I got the biggest stand-up comedy show of my life in a week, and I said, "Hey, I'd love to see you there. I'll even get you a ticket." And he goes, "I'm out of town." Kumar, plan your life around me.
Yeah, loser. No, I'm kidding. No, Nikki is. Yeah, Nikki. Very much. We have these conversations too about like what actually are we discussing and why are. Yeah, there's that Twitter police community that is very conveniently silent about a lot of things, and it's frustrating.
That's too. Yeah, that's too. I just like it's like my part of my philosophy in life is you've heard me. Do not call it flyover states. Do not call it. Do not disparage what's going on out there, because the lack of understanding for the issues they were facing did rise and did lead to a lot of the things, because the grift is easy. The grift works for a reason. The grift isn't new. You know this, but like. And so sometimes I feel my job is to listen to a lot of different folks and hear the reason. That's why I'm saying I 100% agree with you. The dislike of Acolyte is coming from racist, homophobic, misogynistic places. That's where it's coming from, even if it's unprocessed. Yeah. But when those around it, friends of mine, are just like, dude, I'm out. Yeah, that to me is it's not an equal problem, clearly.
Yeah.
Than death threats and all that kind of stuff.
No,
I'm just saying that's part of it. I've got to hear that. I've got to hear them too.
Yeah, and because
you'll lose them if you don't. You'll lose.
It's exhausted them, and that's what we've talked. That's another thing we've talked about. It's exhausted them. There are people that were like, "No, you're not going to attack these actors in 2017 that did stand," they're tired. Like we know people that she posted this publicly, so I feel comfortable quoting her. But like the lovely and great Emma Fife, who's been in this business, she posted on May the 4th. She's like, "I'm not on this beat anymore." And I thought that was such a succinct way to phrase it. Like talking about everything Star Wars gave her, but as like April O'Neil, just like, "I'm not on that beat anymore. I'm not on the Turtles beat anymore." I'm not
on the Turtles beat. I'm not with the Game of Thrones.
And part of that is exhausting. It exhausted you, to be in this space of like, you liked season 8 of Game of Thrones? Well, you fucking idiot, and you this, that, and like, that even it doesn't mean that you changed your opinion. It doesn't mean that you wouldn't still discuss in person or whatever. But so I get it, and I think the both of us are pissed, and so we're being a little rambly. But yeah, I think in summation and final analysis, it is not that they can be changed, because they can't. But there is there's just a better conversation to be had. We don't have necessarily the solutions. I just think we've been a little bit too soft about it, and a little bit too willfully ignorant to a certain point. And I think that goes in some ways hand in hand with what I think you're saying in short, which is, but even though you're saying for the right things, you can be woefully misguided and busy yelling at people because you are ascribing belief onto it, instead of like the Jedi are cop stuff. It's like the Jedi are only cops in as much as they are also Arthurian knights, missionaries, ambassadors. Like, why are we picking one?
They represent institutions as an idea. They represent the goddamn Directors Guild.
They represent the Directors Guild. Yes, yeah.
Like that's where it comes from. Anyways, no, we're in agreement. This is a great conversation. A little anger outburst came out of me, because it's been frustrating for a long time. It's been I feel I need to do the caveats, because I can't. I know I haven't. I'd love to just be able to put that aside, and just have a conversation about the actual feelings going on inside me. Yeah. But I know I'm smart enough. I live in this space and have been here long enough to where I know you can't. But and that's the Force Center way too. We are very clear about that. Like even this week discussing the Caddy Monday stuff We had a conversation about understanding that having trivia knowledge taken away from you, having something you feel you have control on taken away from you, could be upsetting, could be confusing, it could be troubling.
Yeah.
Like Force Center's goal is to go, that's a starting point for some folks. So let's deal with that and maybe take that away from you. But I don't. It's also we have to see where the big picture is. You leave that back door open to all the racism, the sexism, the misogyny, the homophobia, all that stuff. You leave it open, people are going to come in. So we try not to leave it open while also saying, hey, there might be some people in here. We're speaking to you on a different level. We understand it.
Because it's ultimately the conversation we need to have, or the line of questioning we need to have every time is, what are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
Do you want to talk about the change in Key's origin? That's fun to talk about, man. It's fun. We can talk about it. Like it's lest we forget, they also changed Cassian's age, home planet, all this other stuff. But we were busy.
Thy God Tony Gilroy came in and changed everything you thought you knew since 2016. He's also changing things about Mothma, but they're not destroying things because there's people in place who are like, oh, okay, we got to keep. That's a different conversation. But I really agree with you. And if that's you and Kumar conversation that you said you had about what are we talking about here, I think that's a good way to start determining on an individual basis what people are talking about. I rehashed the story, but I had my best friend. We are trying to repair the relationship right now. But around Last Jedi, we had a giant falling out that started with that and ended with the George Floyd murder. But his thing was Last Jedi. It's forced diversity on me, and I don't like this and that, and why I don't mind a black man and an Asian woman in a film, but why do I have to see him kiss? And that's the moment I said to him, "Oh, we're not talking about Star Wars anymore, huh?"
No.
And I think that's a valuable tool in the shed to have. And if that's kind of what you're talking about, I think that's the lightsaber to pull out to defend. Mm-hmm. Is what are we talking about?
What are we talking about? And maybe that is the answer to all of these things, is that needs to be asked more. There needs to be more of an interrogative spirit, I guess. That might be the thing.
Alden, I think we came to we've never been on opposite sides today, but that came to the point because then I do have my friend. I did a very sincere conversation. He loves all the shows. Big Force Center guy too, and that means I like you a little bit better, but it doesn't mean. But it means he's listened and he's open to the ideas behind the shows. And he told me, because dude, I got to tell you that I think it ruined Anakin, and I don't like it. And then we had a conversation about it, and it ended with him going, "Okay, yeah, you're right. I'll wait for more information. Thank you. Good talk." But it was my way of saying, what are we really talking about?
Yeah. And I think that.
And in that case, it was Anakin. In that case, it really was Anakin.
I appreciate this comment from Sean. I love you guys because you're talking about some important shit, disagreeing in some ways, giving each other grace and driving in the right direction. I wish more people would talk like this. I mean, I do too. I wish people would pay Anytime with Ken and Alden to talk like this all the time. But I say that half jokingly, but it's like I want to be clear too, just for my part. I haven't disagreed with a single thing that Ken has said here. I think our dynamic, our dynamic is in a lot of ways, and we've joked about it, and I say it seriously. We are Luke and Rey, where I'm coming to you with the sword.
Please, can I be Rey? Please, can I be Rey? No, I'm Luke. God damn it!
You're not Rey. I'm sorry. I have the beautiful face and the great calves in this situation, and I am handing you the sword and saying, take it, and fight with us. And you're saying, but what about that? And that is a lot of that's a lot that's go today. And you're saying, what about it? But then in the end, synthesis.
Yeah. I'm saying, like, I've got to fight the way I got to fight. I got to survival's the key. I don't want you to be Poe Dameron running off to take down one dreadnought at the cost of everyone's lives. And I'm not, that's also, by the way, that is a space fantasy. We're not talking about real world. But I'm not even disagreeing. This is the nice part of the show, Alden, where we're discussing. I'm not even disagreeing with you. I want clarity. Because I don't want to feel, and I don't feel it now. I didn't feel it at the beginning, but I don't want to feel that anyone's like, well, where's Ken in this? Where's Ken in this? Here, talking about it weekly on Force Center, in which we address this stuff and cultivate a community with the show that we have.
Yeah.
And we do this on, we get so much shit for the comments that infuriate me. You guys seem to be afraid to go negative. No, we're not. We decide how to talk about things we don't like in a way that is the antithesis to what's out there a lot, the shouting heads. You cannot even go on ESPN to get sports highlights anymore, Alden, because it's now 4 people yelling. That's where we're at. We're the antithesis to that, and we're going to stay that. But that doesn't mean it's the only end of the fight. And I do agree with you on that. Yeah. And I'm just finding the best way forward. Going back to my example, do I yell at the dudes that catcalled the woman? Because I know where that's going. Can I make sure she gets out of there safe? Can I block? I love doing when I walk around with Grace. Grace is I'm blessed with a very attractive fiance. You know what I love doing? When I know some dude's going to check her out, I block him. I stand in front of him. You ain't looking at her body. I block her.
Ken's like, you get to look at me.
Can't change him. But I know what you're doing, fool. And you ain't getting this look today because she's tired of it. Yeah. She's tired of it, and I'm joking a little bit, but I want the clarity from you because you are in a different generation that's more on the front lines. You are surrounded by people whose very existence is challenged every day. Their very existence on this earth is challenged, not just by Star Wars fans, but by legislators and laws and Project 25, and that's important to me. So I want to make sure I'm doing what's right, but I still have to do it like Luke, in the way that I find most aligned with the Jedi way. I'm going to fight so you survive, is a different way. So, and not strike anyone down. But anyways, we always end up talking about Star Wars or pro wrestling.
It's just inevitable. And a lot, and it's very similar in wrestling fandoms. It's very similar in a lot of this stuff. And yeah, ultimately it's like, I don't want anyone's takeaway to be like, I want you all to run out there and start adding grifters. No, please don't do that.
Okay.
That's
no. Please don't do that. I don't like feeling the fire.
Stand up for people you don't know. Ask good questions. Acknowledge what we're actually talking about. Carve through the trivia brain of it all. Like it's about the fire in space and everything. Like it's good to point out what this is. That it is fantasy. That it is all these things. Great George quotes about canon going around this week. Yeah, that's awesome. Like. Let's remind each other of historical accuracy and things in terms of art, because it's art. We're not gonna go around now and suddenly start saying that Van Gogh was happy. Like, no, fucking history is history.
I don't even know who that is.
But he's a painter.
I don't. Okay.
You like Bob? Bob Ross?
I've been to the Louvre. Was he? Did he work there?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like,
I love you, I love you. We're generationally different, and I think that's important.
That's important, and that's part of why the show exists. Is the other thing.
Part of what I'm asking for, if through my yelling, Alden, not of you, not even of our audience, of just somewhat of society, is to allow some of those to change and leave behind those that can't. And that's something I've lived. We don't need to get into the 20-year history of pop culture pageantry. Things were just the way they are, and either you grow or realize the bad. I think it's a fascinating watch. It's the Vice dark side of the 2000s. It is the two-parter about Stern, Opie, and Anthony, or fuckers, and others, and it's fascinating to see whether sincere or not. And I doubt that it's all sincere, but the Stern change versus those guys, and where it's a fascinating study on societal change and how people deal with it. And I have done a lot of changing from a Bush Republican to where I am now. And I only got that from the people in my life who confidently, strongly, and at times quietly let me go through those changes. Mm-hmm. And that's part of my philosophy too.
And believed in your potential too.
And you're part of that too. You don't toss me aside when I get a little grumpy in text.
No. Because when you send me an angry text, I always look at that as not an opportunity like strategically, but an opportunity to hear more from one of my best friends. Like it's like sometimes conversations, especially online, become so base that even like any substance, I get really excited about substance. Like when people say, like when people say like, oh, like what's your type? I'm always like, Backbone. I love Backbone. I love like,
does
what
Dua
is your...
Lipa have backbone? You
God,
pervert.
she does. She really
Okay,
does.
you pervert.
Yeah. What turns you on? Moral fiber, good lines of questioning. Like, what? Like,
And a great ass. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Ooh, ah. We did a whole
Clickbait.
bit when I was on the rock station in Miami about because I said something off air and I was like, oh, like I would never. I think I said like I would never hook up with them because they were like a Trumpy or whatever. Probably about somebody in sales or whatever.
Sure.
And so then they immediately brought it on air, and I was like, oh Christ, now I got to talk about this. And they were like, Alden, our assistant producer, said that he would not hook up with someone because of their political beliefs. Alden, and I was like, look, man, you can't be looking down at someone in bed knowing that they want to throw you over a wall. Like, my last name's Diaz, man. Like, once they find that out, it's over.
Yeah,
but
it's over, man.
Yeah,
over, Commander.
all
The
of
rebels.
this is like, when you hit me up and you're like angry about this and whatever. A lot of times, first of all, it's a conversation I don't see because you're on different platforms. Like, I think threads I don't pay attention to at all. So like people missing the point of things. But like I like the opportunity to dig deeper, and that's part of my frustration is that a lot of the times we don't. I think there's a great comment here from Jonah about that middle ground. Like, I do struggle to discuss the Acolyte with a negative slant because I don't want to add to the hate or be associated with that group. That's we addressed earlier. That's a big thing that Ken was talking about with some of his friends. I think all that is too is if when it comes to the hate and the pushback, if we can stand up and ask the right questions, when it comes to presenting your own negative stuff, I think a lot of the times all you have to do is, again, it's those qualifiers that annoy me personally sometimes because it opens the door to a lack of either media literacy or just like ill will and ignorance and intent. But yeah, if you're like you've done it well, like you like Acolyte, but you're like, this specific performance is not working for me because. And as long as you're doing that, people can't say, well, then you hate that. No, that's not what I said. I said what I said.
Yeah, no, I really agree with that. I just think because we're all taught, at least here in America, I don't know the rest, that if you're writing a sentence, take out I think, because that's the weaker of the statement. It is just what it is. We were all raised that way, and I think it set us up for a lot of the conversation space now, where you got a lot of the a-holes who are like, this is fact, Acolyte sucks, and it's a fact. Whereas on Force Center, again, it is to that comment, like, Ahsoka was a big challenge for me, still is, but I knew I had to find the better way to say it than even text to you. So anyways, it's a larger conversation. I don't know. Now we're just blathering. And remember when I told you? Remember when I told you out of a meeting? I just looked up. I'm almost going to be late for the meeting.
Oh, I thought the meeting got canceled or pushed. Maybe I was half asleep.
Nope.
Never mind.
All good.
2 comments that I starred here. Nikki said, this feels similar to saying a Star Wars what if would be fun, but it's a power we can handle and the internet can't, so it must never be real. Yeah, exactly. Star Wars what if, like, that's one of those things that, like, I'd love 100%. To see. I would love to see Jennifer Corbett write what if, Vader survived. Like, hell yeah. I do not want to have to talk about it with people. So, yeah, absolutely. People can't handle that.
I agree tenfold.
And then Scotty with a random comment that I think was just trying to trigger me with discourse. Would y'all consider Mrs. Lovett from Sweeney Todd a villain? Yes, Scotty. Yeah.
That's a Johnny Depp film?
That is a Broadway play that was adapted into the Tim Burton film. Yes, she's a villain. Yes. They ate people. They killed and ate people.
You know my takes on theater.
What is your take on theater?
It's not 1880. We don't need to go.
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
We've advanced forms of entertainment.
I'm going to tell Grace to grab her swords and her stage combat.
Top of her class theater major. Yeah. Trust me.
I lost this comment, but I loved Molly saying that she likes the Star Wars Celebration bar because people buy her drinks, and deservedly so, honestly.
Does anyone buy Alex drinks? I'm trying to think. I try to, but I got fools like Kumar and Room buying me drinks, trying to liquor me up. Those guys.
I was standing next to our friend Ash Crossan, and I said, Ash, what are you drinking? Let me buy you a drink. And she was like, oh, Disney's covering mine. I was like, I'm with you. I was like, I'm your date now.
I'm gonna
Let's
miss
get
it.
some more Pink
I'm
Gin
gonna
going.
miss it. Like I mean, I ain't going to Tokyo this year. It's not happening. So I'm gonna miss that. So
You
maybe
think?
2027. Let's meet up in Orlando. I think it's gonna be in Orlando.
Vaudeville knapsack show.
I love this. I got some drinks, says Alex in chat.
I've been here the whole
I've been here the whole time.
Trophy husband Alex Damon showing up right at the end after Molly has put in all the work in the comments. This guy comes through right at the end. No, yeah, I mean they're doing it right. I mean the restraint shown by the House Damon is historic, and the ability to have not given in. I texted Alex this, and I'll say it in public because I mean it. It wasn't just something nice I said to make him feel better. They are the last bastion in a lot of ways of what they do, because
on the biggest level, yeah, no, absolutely,
yeah, because of YouTube media and everything.
Force Center are the replacements, and Alex and Molly are Nirvana and Goo Goo Dolls and all the bands that, you know, the replacements influence at times. Star Wars Complaint started a long time ago, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I know our place. Alex,
so it's
they're on the front lines.
Force Center is like, you know, tied back into Chapel Roan. Like Chapel, they brought up how
Heat Club. Yeah,
so proud of you. I'm so proud of you right now.
Such a great song.
When you Google Chapel Roan, they have like a Google Easter egg that it'll say, "Did you mean your favorite artist's favorite artist?" And because that's what a lot of people have called her for the last few years, because all of these way bigger stars would post like, "Oh yeah, I love her stuff," and then she finally now has her shot. Force Center is your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast every time.
Yeah, but it's the replacement, the band, the replacements. It's like they are cited so much by other bands, but they had to go away so others would crawl. We're not going away, by the way. We're just saying.
No, totally not. I mean, yeah, I remember Replacements got into Guardians of the Galaxy 3 on that soundtrack, and
did they?
Yeah, and people had asked. Let me look up the exact song title so I don't get it wrong.
I stopped watching. I love a lot of the MCU stuff. I don't have time for it, but that's great. I mean, was that still Gunn, right?
That was James Gunn's.
The guy knows how to put a soundtrack together like it's the 90s. He's a champion at that. It's amazing.
Oh yeah. So he put in I Will Dare was in Guardians 3.
Meet me in. Yep, that's a great song.
Yeah, it was great. And people asked him, you know, and he was like, "Well, you know, my punk is a little bit more. My alt is a little bit more this." We got people sounding off in the comments now. Octo Radio is LCD sound system. You think so? I certainly hope so. Bombad Cast is Sugar Ray. Yeah, everybody should just know what their musical.
That's amazing.
You're dangerously close to calling Force Center a comics comic all the time.
Well, I've been I was a comics comic too back in the day. Yeah,
so is that an insult then?
It's a label that you can't get out from under. I'm being honest. Sometimes I have some frustrations with Force Center, of like, but that's from us.
Is it's comic like when they call a wrestler a workhorse because he can't be main event?
Yes, yeah, that's 100%. The guy who puts everyone else over in the IC title match, with the good hand.
Good hand. Good hand is gross.
Yeah, the one that the comics make sure they're watching because they're like, dude, I love your stuff. Audience didn't laugh, but that reference to the War of 1812, chef's kiss. Like, yeah, that could sometimes be a problem. And yeah. And I want to make clear. This is the day of me trying to be clear about dumb statements I might be making. We love where we're at Force Center, and we love that we also have a little bit of a coaching tree in terms of thematic discussions. We love it, and we're actually in a stronger period of time than we've ever been. But 10 years into this, we ain't getting no stickers. No stickers coming this way. So
that's because you can't fit a complete sentence on a sticker that's like this big, and sometimes it's hard. Yeah, we've gone a lot of places in this conversation. I know you have to run to a meeting.
I do, man. Sorry, this has been fun.
No, but it's been very valuable. It's been therapeutic. The best thing is seeing comments saying this has been cathartic. Like, a few comments like this has been cathartic. I'm glad. Molly is so excited to see you guys posting shorts.
Well, I want to shout out. He's in chat. Our buddy Big Lou here. Makes my channel the cover band playing BW3 on Wednesday. Big Lou, check out Big Lou's Clubhouse. He's an editor too. He's done a lot of good stuff in his past, a lot of varied careers and everything. Love Big Lou. He's just a sweetheart of a human being. He's promised me he's going to cook some Jacksonville chicken wings for me. He last week was like, "Hey, I'm getting back in editing. I'd like to get here's some clips for you." And we've been looking for the time to do that ourselves and give big shout out to Big Lou. So subscribe to Big Lou. I don't like reaction content. I've watched Big Lou's reaction stuff because he's just such a good guy to hang around with.
Everybody has the one or two reactors that they will watch. Everyone does. It's like my dirty little secret. I will watch Scotty's. I will watch The Boys at Heroes, depending on what the show is. If I also watch,
yeah.
And I will always watch Alex and Molly's, particularly if I want to see them be scared or if I want to hear Molly.
Well, Alex and Molly's reactions are fun because it's Alex doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just being handsome. Just being straight handsome.
Which would be my reactions. If I can do a Star Wars reaction.
Well, what's funny is that they, at iHeartRadio, when I was still working there full time before Avengers Endgame, program director pulled me and one of the other hosts who was a big nerd and was like, "Hey, we need you guys to start doing some more video. Would you guys do trailer reaction for Avengers?" Because they were talking about it on Good Morning America. I was like, "Yeah, we could do a trailer reaction to Avengers." So we shot it, and it was fucking awful because I was sitting there just like, oh, I wonder if they're adapting this part of Infinity Gauntlet. And then Heather on the other side being like, yeah, so Tony's in space. Okay. Like it was like we just started talking like very lightly.
And you can't, and I know some of the bigger ones, they do the reaction, then they'll do a breakdown afterwards. I get it. It's not, but like the last one I ever taped was last summer at New Rock Stars, and we were doing like a one for like Miss Marvels, and here I am with some good folks around me, Tommy Beckel, who's just a sweetheart, and all those folks, and like. I was like, it looks like they've got this theme of where in society women are taught to fight against each other, and these three women of different backgrounds and different perspectives might have to come together.
Guys? Guys?
No? Okay. Like it's not for me. It's not my show.
And then they threw Ken out the office window and called him woke. It was awful.
No, but I was laid off shortly after. Anyways, crossed arms for a brow until Cobb Vanth's danger, then full-on meltdown. So Star Clan or BT Umo gets hurt. That's amazing.
That's valid. All Nikki just said, I don't. And I don't know what that refers to. Oh, I don't have a reactor that you secretly watched?
This is why Kumar's the best of us. And I love him.
I love Nikki Kumar. My final thought for the show
is that
when people ask me who my ideal woman is, it's just I'm looking for Nikki Kumar as a goth chick. That's what I'm looking for.
So Florence Pugh, got it. Love it.
I wish.
Love it. We did it. I hope things are okay for me after this. And I love you, brother. And I think you do good work. Out of your heart's always in the right spot. I appreciate you.